Uh-oh, is Maldamba must-have first pick now? Do we have another lifelike Ying on our hands, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Raynday Gaming. My name is Raynday, and today we'll be talking about the implications, the deep impacts of Maldamba's latest buff to his projectile speed, what that small change could mean to the overall casual and competitive community, and touching on a few ways that champions, whether in Smite, Paladins, or other games, can be buffed, and how those impacts can be large or small, and what communities they can actually impact. I want to save a lot of that for another topic, just talking about how to buff characters for higher end competitive play, how to buff them for casual play, and going through some of those basics so you can understand this process more. But I also want to touch on the current iteration in OB47 that has allowed Maldamba to possibly step up in terms of value priority in the picking phase in both ranked and high level esports, and maybe even in casual play over Ying. Again, this is all speculation, but I'm really excited to talk about this. This is a change that I've been wanting for a while, and I think it's just going to be a great quality of life change for the champion. Before we get into all that though, thank you everybody who has gotten the notification squad hoodie, t-shirt, or the iPhone case. Those are actually pretty dope, by the way. We are still going for those. They're still on sale for another 5 days, I think, so make sure you grab that. They will be gone forever after that. The link is in the description below, and again, let me know in the comments if you have picked up one. I'll be sure to shout you out. Alright, so moving on to Maldamba, everybody's favorite snake. My first cosplay ever before Lex came into the building, and now I got a brother thinking about dyeing his hair blonde. The truth is, Maldamba in his essence is a very high skill cap character, which means that he's got a skill ceiling that is probably beyond Ying's, and in such a way that means that the best Maldamba, the best player in the world, if he is on Maldamba, should achieve more than a great Ying player. That just means that if you have enough skill, you should really be able to take advantage of that skill and not be locked out by a champion's own ability and skill set that doesn't allow you to perform those minute things that can sway a battle. It's a pretty simple concept, right? Victor, all you can really do is run, throw a grenade, aim, and shoot. He would be what we call a low skill cap champion, and Ying, she falls into probably the medium to high. A lot of her damage and healing is very low, but her escape actual skill is one of the hardest things to get a hang of and get correct for newer players, and takes a higher level player and a higher level style of planning and understanding of the game in the moment to actually execute effectively. So she gets up there, but not as high as Maldamba. The reason being is Maldamba, to fully master, takes not only mechanical skill to hit a hit scan heal from potentially across the map. I mean, the potential of hitting that heal onto a teammate in need is almost endless, whereas Ying's is just plug and play, auto, aimbot healing. But he's also got a heal on his left mouse button that can be used for healing and damage, so he can decide, much like Ying, to leave them up and use it for a teammate, or to throw it down in an offensive position and where Ying can shatter her clones. But one of the most difficult aspects of Maldamba, and recently it's been taken note for his buff, is his projectiles. Now everyone knows the snake stun, the reload aspect of Maldamba's kit is awesome. Whenever he reloads his actual weapon, he throws the snake, and if you get hit by it, you get stunned. So mid-air stuns, long range, downtown stuns are always hype for us as commentators and analysts to look at and show how good a player can be. But just hitting Maldamba's basic attacks in general casual play, and even in higher level competitive play, was a task in its own. Now Maldamba's actual buff is that his projectile speed now goes from 160 to 180, which means he's got a little bit over 10% more in terms of his projectile speed. So the left mouse buttons, which are notorious for how much they drop down, how much they you have to aim up to compensate for that drop, will now be able to move farther at a basically normal level of aim. This is basic concepts of, physical momentum, of obviously if something has a greater horizontal speed, gravity will still affect it, but if it's moving faster, it will cover a longer distance before it hits the ground. It will just be able to go farther, and that is what Maldamba had a lot of problems with, and it not only made him very difficult to execute at a high level, because if anyone was outside of your short range, it was basically a guessing game of trying to hit them. You were looking up into the sky, hoping that someone 10 or 15 feet away from you would have it fall down on them and hit them on top of the head. And now the possibility is that Maldamba may actually be able to aim those not only from and hit people farther away, but be a lot more accurate in those short to mid-range fights when his DPS can really matter. Maldamba has some of the lowest damage done by any of the supports, but one of the funniest aspects that people don't know about it, one of the most curious aspects, is that his raw DPS, if you are standing in front of someone as a Maldamba, shooting them with your left mouse button, is the highest of any support. Now, this is pre-legendary. I don't know if Ying with her actually focusing lens legendary, because of the extra bonus damage, does do higher DPS than Maldamba, but from the last time we checked before legendaries, Maldamba's just his left mouse button was the highest DPS of any support. And what this actually means, if you look at it statistically, is probably a lot of people just aren't getting as much value out of Maldamba as they could. Sure, the higher level players are probably maximizing that out more than anyone, but it also means that even they may be struggling to keep up with characters who just have a little bit easier of a way to deal damage with their basic attacks, such as Ying. If a champion like Maldamba requires so much skill to play effectively, the players who are able to play him as effectively as possible should be on top of players with a lower skill cap. In terms of champion design, in my eyes, that's what makes sense. Now, I'm not saying that's the official rule for every single champion in the game, but for me, and I think as a principle of design, that is something that you should strive to, right? The very, very best of the very hardest characters to be the best with should dominate, because it's going to be few and far between of who's actually able to put the skill, the positioning, the timing, all of that together with the game knowledge and execute it. Now, okay, is Maldamba ever going to do top damage and be higher than Pip or Maelstrom Rock? Probably not. Even if you make his left mouse button 100% lock on accurate target, he probably still won't out damage a Catalyst Pip or a Maelstrom Rock. I mean, those guys do a lot of damage and their kits just really work for that AoE, and he's more of a single target damager despite his left mouse button being a decent threat to clumped up enemies. So as I kind of previously mentioned, this buff should bring the lower level players into a more effective range of performing with Maldamba, but it should give the higher level players just another bit of an edge in terms of those who are already master Maldambas being able to get even more out of this high skill cap champion. Now, the reason I even want to make this video and bring this conversation up is because Ying has also gotten a nerf in this patch, and in most gaming communities, when a champion gets a nerf, they're played a little bit less, they're viewed a little bit less favorably, maybe not the hot new as the pros like to find, and when a champion gets a buff who is already pretty good or a staple in the meta, it could sometimes shift into a must-have. I mean, Ying is an insanely strong healer. She's a plug-and-play type of healer, very much like Barrack is a plug-and-play type of frontline. A lower-level player and even a higher-level player will get their guaranteed shielding. They'll get their guaranteed objective time. They'll get their guaranteed damage, and you don't really have to think too much about it because they have other things in their kit that work for them. Her illusions do the healing, not Ying mechanically having to hit those shots. Barrack's turrets do a ton of damage by themselves and create really good pressure on the point without Barrack having to stand in the perfect spot and having to have his shield up at the exact perfect time. But beside that, considering the fact that she was recently nerfed and Maldamba was recently buffed, I think we could see a lot of the professional players start to shift into a Maldamba being a must-have. He was already part of the top 2, and now it seems that, in my eyes, he could be a really dangerous threat. Ying is not going anywhere, but I am really excited to see what the pros can do and casual players can do, especially after we saw such a great impact of what happened to Bomb King with just a little bit of lag compensation, allowed players from all different ranges of skill levels to be able to achieve a lot with him and have a lot of success. I'm really interested to see if this was the missing link for Maldamba to kind of move forward in terms of being a champion that a lot of players can have access to, and even if they're not the most skilled, still do pretty well. All I know is I'm going to be playing a lot of Maldamba coming up in this next patch, and I want to hear your thoughts on what this buff might do for the healing meta in general. Do you think Maldamba will be a first pick? Do you think Ying is kind of on the way out and Maldamba's way up towards the top in terms of pick priority? What are you going to do when he hits the field and you get him into your game? So you're going to prioritize him in ranked? I want to know, what do you think this change will be? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks again, guys, for following and being a part of the notification squad. Let me know if you grabbed the t-shirt in the comments below as well, and stay tuned for some more videos. If you didn't catch the stream, it was awesome. I introduced the channel to my girlfriend. She is still here for the next couple of days, so I'll be spending some time with her. So if you don't see a video from me at the usual upload times, that is where I'll be, and then we will be back in action. My parents are actually coming into town that following weekend. She leaves, my parents come, so it's going to be awesome, but they'll be cool with everything, and I'll still be doing videos probably as regular as usual schedule when they are around, and maybe we'll even get them to do some fun stuff. I don't know. My mom loves the camera. My dad used to act and do all that stuff, so they may want to join me on here. It'll be exciting, but either way, expect usual Raynday Gaming content. Just because 31 and 31 is over doesn't mean we're going to stop trying to put out daily videos. I think that is the plan from now on, to really try to stick to it, but I am giving myself this weekend and while my girlfriend visits a little bit of a break. As always, if you enjoy the content, want to see more, hit the notification bell, leave a like, comment your thoughts below, and remember to subscribe to stay tuned for more. As always, remember to never give up, never stop gaming, and I'll see you all next time.